Welcome to Short Circuits, an ongoing YouTube series about Transformers cartoons from the past and present.
I can start quite quickly on this one. What is going on?
All right,
I
I
had
know.
absolutely no idea what was going on. There's a big, massive bug thing, and there's no robots.
Did you not watch the last episode, Jason?
So I did. I genuinely was like, what happened last time?
Because we weren't sure, were we? We weren't sure if you'd seen the right episode or not. I don't know.
So confused. The guy who does the policeman has Carmine from Die Hard 2, who John McClane hates as well. And
A little bit of that, yeah.
Could not see him. But he gets into Bumblebee, but it's not Bumblebee, and they go and fight a bug, which is not a bug.
So I think the thing with this, the first 3 minutes of this is not a Transformers cartoon
Not at all.
Like it's completely, it's like a science fiction, like Ben 10 kind of, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's only when the Autobots appear after minute 3 has already rolled that you're like, oh, I am watching Transformers, yeah.
And even that, as they drive out of the spaceship, is it the Ark? It's not the Ark, is it? It's Hot Rod. That's what I
It's
said
Hot
last
Rod.
time.
They drive
It's
out of Hot Rod.
They drive
yeah.
out of Hot Rod, out of the water. And I'm just like, all right, this is fine. It's just
Physics.
So, yeah, I know. We'll just ignore that bit.
Science.
They do show them driving back in later, but it was... I've got a note here. Genuine confusion. That's what this episode was for me. That's my note.
Your notes are just like, WTF, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. The bug. So let's talk about the bug, right? So that giant bug and the humans are fighting it with hose pipes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why? Why?
I mean, it's a good question. It is a good question. The bit that really gets me is that old Captain Fanzone turns up, and he's a recurring character.
Captain Fanzone, what a name!
I know.
It's what they have at football stadiums. They have the fan zone. It's like they may as well call him like Captain Fan Park or Captain Supporters Club.
At least he's not in the friend zone. How's that?
Yeah,
yeah, totally.
He turns up and he starts yelling, and this is a signature catchphrase of this guy's. He says, "This is why I hate machines," but he's looking at a giant bug.
Yeah, there's no machines. No. Except he's maybe just very good at his job, because these are then, as I found out later, they're the nanobots.
They're nanobots, yes. They are nanobots. Yeah. But how does he know that?
He's a detective. He's detecting.
He's detected that it's actually a mechanical thing.
What they do, detective.
Is that right? Is that part of the job description?
I believe that is what detectives are all about.
But
detecting.
Giant bugs.
I'm going to keep going on about this, but that was like, there was so much going on. I had a moment of like, am I watching the right episode? Is this actually what? Is this my homework for tonight?
Pretty sure you definitely were this time, yeah.
It wasn't until, as you say, they went into the spaceship and then they get woken up by some little globules of nanomites or whatever they are. And then they all come out of the stasis pods.
Gloop.
Just yawning.
The Autobots get waken up from sleep by gloop.
In the original, it's a weird one.
It's a volcano. It's something dramatic. This one, bit of gloop.
Yeah. I did have that feeling when I was watching it. And look, I love this cartoon, but it did feel at that moment slightly underwhelming versus the sort of classic origin of like a volcano waking them up and it's been 4 million years and all of that. It's very expedient, I suppose, is the thing, isn't it? It just kind of gets things moving and gets the characters into the action.
Yeah, for me, that was a big part of this, is it just was rapid. It was going from one bit to another bit to another bit. But once the Autobots came into it, then it went up another level and it was proper action. What about that sequence where they all transform?
Amazing.
So cool. So cool.
That's when you know this is the tits, right? That's when you think
really
this is going to be good.
Do you know, but this thing, for all the chaos and all the stuff that was happening, there was still a story and development through this as well, which was really good.
So I think the thing with this episode that has to be said, and we sort of said it about the last one as well, but this is very much part 2 of a 3-part story. Yeah. If you just view this episode as a standalone, it's very strange because it starts in a weird place. The previous episode ended in a very weird place. It was not a natural cliffhanger really at all.
Cut so strange.
Yeah. And I think this one has a more natural cliffhanger come the end, with the Decepticons and all of that, but definitely best viewed as a holistic, 60-minute adventure, if you will.
Yeah, and this time Decepticons weren't even in it except for a very last-minute cameo by Starscream, who was being proper maniacal, but cheeky Starscream at the end, which I really liked.
Hell of a chin.
Yeah, hell of a chin. My God.
But the one character that did get it was Ratchet, who is, for me, is a bit more like Cup. you know?
Yeah, you
like
said
the old
last
guy,
time, yeah.
bit miserable.
Broken antenna, which I have to ask, when they go in this machine that reformats them, why does it leave his little head crest broken? It gives him a whole new van body. It repairs everything and changes everything, but still leaves his little head crest bit broken. It's a style choice.
Yeah, it's like his haircut.
Maybe knowing the later story, maybe he keeps it as like a little sort of reminder, as it were.
Teletran 1 is like, I know your story, dude.
Yeah, man.
I've read the script.
I'm going to leave this in for you.
Yeah.
I did very much enjoy the Teletran 1 moment. And this is, Derek J. Wyatt and just giving those nods to G1 and it going off and doing its thing that it did previously.
Very
but
much so.
There was a twist.
The Sky Spy.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? It was so nice as well. Didn't go very far, just literally went out, grabbed everything, went back, and then he just went in a telephone box and got changed.
Yeah, that was a weird sequence of them just like, you'd think they all could kind of go in at the same time, but they're all kind of going in one after the other. And...
Did you see the animation for Bulkhead as he moved as well? Yeah. He had to kind of turn sideways and go in, which was really nice. Little attention to detail.
There's a lot of that in this. I thought it was a good, sort of very story efficient method of getting all their alt modes sorted and everything. The fact that all these emergency vehicles are right there. And it never really tied it together before that, they all kind of have these sort of similarly themed vehicles.
And the only one that's the wrong colour is Bulkhead. Like,
yes.
He's green. And then this sort of military vehicle is actually like grey-blue. And you're like, that's the one that would probably be green. It's like a SWAT carrier, isn't it? It's like that thing in Die Hard that they ram into the building and then get blown up with a rocket
the SWAT
launcher.
vehicle. Yeah. That sequence when they got scanned, they come out and then they all transform and reveal themselves pretty much straight away.
Transformers, robots that were very briefly in disguise.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're rubbish,
last long
aren't
at
they?
all.
Read
Surprise,
the book, guys.
I did love the whole conceit here that they think that the vehicles and the machines are the dominant life form. I thought that was a really clever sort of spin on it.
But then there is this big nanomite bug thing absorbing everything and seems to be growing and then collapsing, and I still don't really get it. If I'm honest, that bit. It's about.
I think you have got it. I think you've just explained it.
It felt like an excuse for a big robot fight, and that was it. And it was like
that's pretty much it.
I mean, that's what the cartoon is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's an excuse for robots to fight.
I think you're overthinking it, mate.
I am, aren't I?
They needed something for the robots to fight. That's
because the
literally
hose pipes weren't working, and it's just like, it's just too
more
funny.
water.
But in that time as well, what's the wee girl's name who's running around with spark plugs? Sari. So when she's running around, and she was great.
How can you not remember her name when it was the basis of not one but two instances of a sorry joke in this? They do it twice in this one episode.
That went straight over my head.
I really like a lot of the humour in this, but there is two instances as well of it followed me home jokes. But I did think a lot of it really landed though. I love stuff like What's Breathe. I think that's one of my favourite moments in this. That I definitely laugh out loud at that.
They never explain that, do they? When they go down there, she can breathe.
Did we see her after that? Is she actually just dead?
No, she's definitely not dead.
Oh, no, she's definitely there. She does the whole McGuffin key thing.
Oh, of course she does.
I fear that we may be overthinking it in a way Jason was overthinking the giant monster thing a second ago.
True.
Though, because some of these things just need to happen, don't they?
It was such a different episode to the first one.
Do you think?
Even just the pacing. This was like a bit more set pieces, which is like, here's the humans, here's a big baddie, here's the Autobots, save the day, and then that was it. It was just quite an interesting way to intro them and to not extend it out into something it didn't need to be. So I enjoyed it for that as well. It was a lot of fun.
I do think there's a bit of an efficiency of storytelling with this, which I do really appreciate. But it's a great fight as well. I mean, it's got some good action in it. I think the action is really nicely portrayed. The animation, I think, is superb. The music is great. Yeah. It's exciting.
The monster exploding into what looks like lots of kidney beans. That's kind of what it turns into.
Exactly.
Kind of horrible.
Yeah, I kind of looked at it and went, no, never eating chili again. Kind of just
wash your beans, everybody. That's what you need to do.
Wash your beans.
Otherwise, it's gelatinous goop. That's the weakness that they need.
Yeah, that's the Autobots' one weakness.
Yeah,
Heinz baked beans.
Just nobody washed their beans. Apparently,
it's
good advice for all walks of life. That I think, isn't it? There you go.
Yeah,
straight from Jason. Did you have that as a note as well? Wash your beans.
I've been there. We've all been there.
I'm going to just say in caps, because that's my note for this, faceplates. They come in.
Yes.
Pearl gets one and Prime gets one.
Makes you wonder why they needed mouths in the first place. Prime looks so much better with a faceplate. Stop giving him a mouth. He looks silly.
I don't mind it as much as I thought I might.
I don't mind it at all. Like, I quite like it, honestly.
I'm a traditionalist.
Gets to purse those lips a little bit.
He does, yeah.
You know?
It never works for me in the live action movies, but
it's true.
But no, I really, again, it was like as soon as they went into action mode, and you just knew you were going to get a really good sequence. Which then Prowl, who, let's be honest, he's a bit of a dick, isn't he?
Yeah,
that guy's not very friendly at all.
Hubris comes for him.
Definitely does. He learns the value of teamwork. Let's put it that way.
He does. That's it. Yeah.
I will say there are reasons for his dickery, and he does learn to be less of a dick through the series very quickly.
Good.
Yeah, he's a great character, actually. Really, really great character.
Another hell of a chin.
Yeah, massive chin.
Chin watch is big.
Yes,
Chin
it's
watch.
impressive. Yeah, what is that guy up
Chins
to?
everywhere. He can't get away from it.
It's like Spring Watch, but with chins.
Yeah, it really is.
Chinny Reckon. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Chinny Reckoning.
That's the next film. That's what
exactly.
Let's take a moment, though, to just mention Sparkplug, because he's a
dog.
He's a dog.
He's a dog.
You know? Great. Love it. Amazing. What a reveal. How did I not know that as a spoiler?
They missed a trick. They should have called him Spark Pug.
Spark Pug.
Spark Pug.
It's right there, guys.
It's right there.
You can have that for free.
Yeah, well, they should go back now.
Yeah, go back in
years. Remake the show.
I'm going to be like Bishop from the X-Men, like time sliding to Derek J. Wyatt. Okay,
yeah.
I've got to save you from this mistake that you're going to make in the future.
There's a terrible fate that awaits you.
Yeah.
Remove an L. Just leave an L out.
You're going to miss this pun. Very important pun.
And on his notes, it would just be like, no. Just crossed out. Just not.
Get the L out of here.
Met some whack job today. Thought he was from the future.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not happening. I did think that there is some stuff in this that happens a little bit clunkily. At the risk of saying it, you know, some of the stuff happens to sort of move the plot along. Like the way that Sari gets onto the ship, for example, is very much Bumblebee decides to bring her along. Why does he not tell any of the Autobots about her? Because if he does, then maybe she's not going to come along. Do you know what I mean? And it's sort of, it doesn't feel quite natural to me, that beat. No. It feels a little bit like, well, we need Sari on the ship so that she could do the key thing.
Yeah, totally.
So this is how we're going to make
maybe.
It happen. Just a little bit. But I don't mind it. And it's not a major critique at all.
Yeah.
The storytelling gets a lot more natural once we're through this sort of initial part. And certainly part 3 of this opening, I think it's amazing, honestly.
Oh, right, really?
Yeah.
So just on that bit, though, when Bumblebee's there and he's not transforming and Sari's inside the door in the seat. And that's just that's a brilliant sequence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really funny.
That's gold.
Really well done.
Yeah,
really well done. And I love how, you notice they kind of did a slight Pixar Cars moment in my mind where the reflections on the windows kind of started having like little eyebrow raises and
they emote. They use the windscreen to emote. Like Bulkhead's armored truck thing constantly looks like he's got like a little grinning face on the front, like a really friendly face.
I thought it was really good. It's like the whole kind of the animator in me was just like squash and stretch. It's the kind of Disney bag of flour kind of animation training technique, and that's to bring a kind of what is a solid object to life in that kind of method. I really like. There's certain cartoons that can do it, and this one can.
And we get Optimus as a full fire truck here, which I had thought that this was the only point when Prime was in full fire truck mode. Because, of course, Jason, you know from the toys that he's a kind of little... Just
the front bit. Yeah,
exactly.
Tractor.
Yeah. Which is really weird as well when you look to see that he actually has no front wheels.
Yeah. True.
I don't really understand how that works, you know, but...
Yeah, because there's all in his back legs, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing at the front there. But it makes more sense when he's the full fire truck. But we've never seen this thing as a toy, apart from the one flippy out thing that turns into a handgun. Have you seen this?
Oh,
turns
totally.
Into like a glove,
yes. Yeah,
which is sacrilege as far as I'm concerned. Because it looks
such a cool toy.
Cool, honestly. This is back in the era of fire truck Optimus supremacy, let me tell you.
We had
RID, we had it going on in Cybertron a little bit, as if people sort of count that as a fire truck, kind of.
Yeah, it's a space fire truck,
It's a space fire truck.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a cool
with wings,
one as well.
Why not?
Amazing.
Big missiles and things.
The other thing it did for me is I'm a massive fan of Akira, and it gave me Akira vibes with that kind of just mutating, growing, kind of pulsating grossness. Yeah,
Tetsuo.
And I'm like... Yeah,
Nano.
Absolutely. And then they started getting absorbed into it.
Nano?
Tets Nano?
Is that a thing? Tets Nano?
Sounds
Tets
like a
Nano.
dodgy website to me.
Yeah. Could be.
Yeah, Prime.
Did you notice, though, that old Spike is in this again?
He's a recurring character in the background.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, Key's
you missed him last time.
I missed him last time, and I missed him this time.
He's in a split second of this when Sari unlocks the Allspark and has a little conversation with it, and little images are flashing back. He's in that bit.
Ah, yes. There was a lot going on there. That was quite
you have to pause the
bit.
Screen. You have to kind of really pause it very fast.
That was my note for that section. What was the scan thing? Oh, Key. And I was like, this is cool, you know?
Okay.
It was like, I even used the key emoji in my notes, so I knew what I meant.
A key emoji? Do you mean you just drew a picture of a key?
A little Yale lock key, which is what they used on Prowl as well. Just poke it in his chest.
It's just a little padlock. Just imagine if it had like a little numerical padlock on Prowl's chest, and that's how they got into it.
A little chub lock.
84.
And then Prowl almost dying.
Yeah. Did you think he was going to die?
No, because I know that he's.
Right.
I do know a bit about it, and I know that he was a released character twice from the toy line. So I was thinking he can't die.
Although that key is going to be
critical.
It's a big McGuffin.
It's a big key.
It's a big key. It's a special key.
Came out of a big shiny box.
You might even say that to the plot, it is key.
Oh,
you're giving me the oof now, are you? You know,
the end.
This is what it's like being on the other side of this fence. I don't like it.
That's when you know you've overstepped the pun line there, is where Liam gives you the oof. That's when you think, that must have been bad.
Wow.
Wow.
One final question. What do you make of the ending with the Autobots, and they're kind of them being hailed as heroes and all that kind of stuff?
I think it's great, because normally in this situation in cartoons, you have to go through like 10 or 15 episodes of them being hunted or misunderstood and hated and all these things, and here they just go straight past it, like, humans are on board now, they know they exist,
which is a nice change.
Adventures. I'm like, it's one thing I always liked about this show, is we just move past that. We don't have to sit through the X-Men style episodes of them being misunderstood and chased and
completely
hated.
Agree, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So what do we think then of this one overall? Good, not good?
Fantastic, absolutely brilliant, loved it from start to finish.
So really unsure at the beginning, loved it by the end.
Cracking. Well, it's been great fun, and obviously we're going to come back for part 3. And if you want more content like this, and why would you not, let's be honest, you can get on to our regular podcast as well, which is fortnightly, and when there we cover a whole range of topics. We do have a Patreon as well, where we've got 5 glorious tiers of stuff. We've got a popping Discord, we've got lots of exclusive minisodes and all of that kind of good stuff as well, so do check that out. And otherwise, we'll be back for the next one.
Gloop.